Hey everyone, Victor Dantas here. I'm super excited to meet you at PPCC26 in Las Vegas. I have prepared very great content for my workshop. We'll be looking at all of the changes that are coming to our market as makers. We'll learn how to engage AI and produce quality assets, websites, apps, solutions in Power Platform. So stay with me for this video. I wanted to let you know that the presenter of this video looks a lot like me. The voice is a little different. I have used AI to help me on the presentation today, and I'll showcase how you can do the same during the workshop. So you learn about technology, you learn about testing your own technology, and you learn how to produce assets even for online presence using AI. So stay with me and we'll connect at the end of this presentation. All right, enjoy. I am super excited to meet you at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. I've prepared great content for our AI First Power Pages development workshop. Many of you have heard of the major shift in our maker roles due to AI innovation. Here's what I think it means. We're not being replaced, we're being promoted. The typing goes away, the deciding does not. We'll spend the day building a real Power Pages solution, including a data model, model-driven app, code-first site, traditional site using AI features with AI clients working as real contributors on the team. You'll leave with your own conventions file. So rather than tell you about it, let me show you. Here is a sneak peek. This is a field service customer portal. Work orders, technicians, the parts that got used on each job, all of it live served by Power Pages with data from Dataverse. The AI summary, charts, lists, and forms weren't written by a person. It's AI generated. Although AI built all that you're looking at, the work was directed by a builder, a human, someone who understands the platform. Before we got to the front end, we built the data model. Tables, relationships, global choice sets, out-of-the-box status fields, forms, views, quick create, switched on, all of it to my team's standards, because I told an AI client what my standards are. This preliminary step wasn't a lengthy back and forth between me and LLMs, but a monologue described on a file and loaded as the first step in the interaction. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how. We will look at the setup that made it possible and the commands that did most of the work. This is a preview of a full-day workshop at Power Platform Community Conference. And although this workshop targets Power Pages professionals, the skills learned during the workshop are applicable to any Power Platform product. Let's start with what's actually running underneath all of this. Before we install anything, I want to give you a map. When someone tells me they tried AI for Power Platform and the output wasn't good enough to ship, the problem is almost never the model. It's that they were only using one layer of the thing. There are 4 layers, and each one fixes a different kind of bad output. Here's the stack. Bottom one first, the model itself. Claude, GPT, Gemini. This is the reasoning engine. And I want to be honest with you, it's the layer you'll spend the most time arguing about online and the least time thinking about at work. Keep going up. Layer 2, the AI client. This is the thing you actually talk to, and it's where a lot of people have the wrong mental model. An autocomplete assistant finishes your sentence. An AI client finishes your task. It plans, it runs commands, it reads your files, it calls services, it checks its own work. Different category of tool entirely. Layer 3 is where Power Platform shows up. Plugins are packaged, reusable know-how, detailed instructions to ground your AI interactions. There's a Dataverse plugin, a Power Pages plugin, Canvas, Power Automate, Copilot Studio, Code Apps, native mobile apps plugins, and more. And these aren't prompt templates, they carry real procedure. The Power Pages plugin has 28 skills in it. We'll open that one up properly later, because what's in it is genuinely surprising. And then the top layer, which is the one we will pay close attention to in this video. This layer focuses on your instructions, how you would like your team to build. Your publisher prefix, your naming rules, your review gates, the mistakes you've decided nobody on your team is going to make twice. That lives in a file, claude.md or copilot-instructions.md if you're on GitHub Copilot. And the AI client reads it automatically at the start of every single session. Now look at what you're responsible for. Layer 1 and 2, you pick. And honestly, you can pick wrong and recover. Layer 3, you install. Somebody else already did that work. But layer 4 is the only one nobody can ship for you. And it is the layer that decides whether what comes out is a nice demo or something you'd actually put in front of your customer. So here's the plan for the next 18 minutes. Pick a client, install the plugins, write the conventions file, Then build a real field service solution with it. The Dataverse model first, and then the Power Pages front end. And on that last one, I'm going to cover both kinds of Power Pages site, because the answer is different depending on which one you run. Ready to have some fun? Let's get you set up. Now that you understand the AI stack, we will take a look at AI clients. There are many options out there: Claude, GitHub, Copilot app, VS Code, Cursor, and more. These IDEs are designed with features to cover specific purposes. Your final choice for an AI client will depend on personal preferences, corporate guidelines, and your team's setup. Today, we will look into downloading, installing, and configuring 3 different AI clients: Claude Desktop, my personal favorite, GitHub, Copilot app, and VS Code. Before we install anything, a quick word on licensing, because it decides how far you actually get. Whichever client you pick, you will need a Claude subscription, a GitHub Copilot subscription, or both. Are you planning on using VS Code with Claude models? You need a Claude subscription. The free tier gets you started, but it burns tokens fast, so you will not get far. Claude Code within the desktop app requires Claude Pro. My recommendation, Claude Pro and GitHub Copilot Pro, covers you across all 3 clients. I run both on the Max tier. The Max subscriptions give me plenty of tokens for client work and community projects alike. For Claude Desktop setup, access claude.com/download. Find the download option for your OS. Claude Desktop is available for Windows, macOS, and Linux. Please note that Git is a prerequisite for Claude Desktop, specifically Claude Code. Click to download and install. Now that you have Claude Desktop, let's get it set up for Power Platform development. Click and access the code area. Click the plus button and navigation to plugins. Click Browse Plugins. Filter the list to show partner plugins and type Dataverse. Click the plus sign to complete the operation. Congratulations, all Dataverse AI skills are now added to your Claude Desktop. Let's move forward and install Power Platform and Copilot Studio plugins. Unfortunately, these plugins are not yet registered in the official Anthropic plugin marketplace. But don't worry, installing these add-ons is a very simple operation. You can Google Power Platform AI plugins, navigate to the plugins Git repo, and copy the URL. Back in Claude Plugin Management, click the code filter, then plus. Select Add from a repository. Paste the Git repo URL for Power Platform plugins, then click Sync. Congrats, you have added all Power Platform AI plugins to your Claude Desktop. You can repeat these steps to install the Copilot Studio plugin and any other AI plugin available in GitHub. Let us continue our journey and install the GitHub Copilot app. Access github.com/features/AI/GitHub-app. You can download the app for your specific OS. It is available for Windows, macOS, and Linux. You can start with the free GitHub Copilot subscription, but it may not get you very far. Click to download and install. Now that you have installed the app, let us take a look at its features. At first glance, you will notice that this client is repo-centric. You can start sessions straight from issues and PRs, review plans, and use Agent Merge to complete a task or resolve an issue. Let's get this app ready for Power Platform development. First, access the settings area. Click Plugins, then search for Dataverse. Finally, click Install. Dataverse AI plugin and skills are now installed. We will proceed to add the Power Platform plugins. The Git repo for Power Platform skills aggregates a number of different plugins. We will need to add plugins one step at a time. Let's start with Power Pages. Access the plugin screen and search for Power Pages. Find the repo reference and click Install. Repeat these steps for Power Automate plugin and proceed with each plugin as needed. You now have completed the configuration for Power Platform AI first development in GitHub Copilot app. Let's move on to the last client install, Visual Studio Code. Access code.visualstudio.com/download. Like the other AI clients, VS Code is available for Windows, macOS, and Linux. Before we dive into AI-driven development using VS Code, let me quickly explain what it is. Think of VS Code as your workshop. It is a free code editor from Microsoft, and it handles just about every file type you will touch: JavaScript, TypeScript, C#, YAML, Markdown, and more. One place for all of it. And here is why it matters for us. VS Code is also where your AI agents live. GitHub Copilot runs right inside it, and you can wire in Claude too. So the editor you work in and the AI you build with are the same window. Let's walk through the configuration to unlock AI-powered development for Power Platform projects. First, open the Extensions panel. Then search for Power Platform Tools and click Install. This is Microsoft's official extension, and it brings the Pack CLI right into VS Code. That is the toolset that talks to your Power Platform environments. So with this in place, the plumbing is ready. Back in the Extensions panel, search for GitHub Copilot Chat and click Install. This is GitHub's official extension, and it is the one that brings chat and agent mode into VS Code. It also pulls in the base GitHub Copilot extension automatically, so you get inline code completions in the same step. Chat, agent mode, and completions all in the editor. Last one, open extensions again and look for Claude Code, published by Anthropic. Install it. What this does is bring Claude Code inside VS Code. You get a side panel where Claude plans, edits your files, and shows you every change as a diff before it lands, all without leaving the editor. One thing to know, this extension is the front end. It runs on Claude Code and your Claude subscription, the ones from the licensing slide earlier. So the last step is to connect it. With VS Code set up this way, you get the best of both worlds. Claude Code or GitHub Copilot Chat in the same editor, and you switch between them whenever it suits the task. You can also run GitHub Copilot and Claude Code through VS Code's terminal window. Access the terminal menu, then type Copilot for its CLI or type Claude to fire it on the terminal. Which agent you reach for comes down to preference. And here is the best part. The AI plugins and skills underneath stay exactly the same. No matter which agent you pick, learn them once, use them everywhere. And that is all three setups complete. Claude Desktop, the GitHub Copilot app, and VS Code. Take a few minutes in whichever one you will use most. Get familiar with the navigation, the AI mode buttons, the folder selector, and the menus. This is where you will spend most of your time, so it pays to know your way around. Your client is installed. Your plugins are in. You could start building right now. But the top layer of the stack, the one nobody can ship for you, is your conventions. So before we create a single table, let me show you the one file that holds them. This is layer 4, one markdown file in the root of my project. I don't attach it, I don't paste it, I don't mention it in a prompt. Claude Code reads it at the start of every session, and so does every teammate session. I'm not going to read you the whole file today, as there are multiple instructions there. Instead, let's focus on some of the core conventions. First, never author anything until you've read the target environment. This one exists because the failure mode is so specific. An AI will happily create a table that already exists with a slightly different name, and you won't notice for a week. Second, and this is the one I'd fight for, show me a diagram and then stop. Don't build, wait for my revision and approval. Because creating a data model takes 30 seconds and uncreating one takes an afternoon. Some AI clients will show a representation of the model as text output. I like to display it with a bit more details using mermaid diagrams. This single rule turns an irreversible thing into a visual reviewable thing. You'll see it fire in about a minute, and it completely changes how the build feels. Third, never invent a custom status field. Use the out-of-the-box status and state. If you've reviewed AI-generated Dataverse schemas, you already know this is the number one thing it gets wrong. It builds a perfectly reasonable custom status column, and it's wrong every time. And if you're a GitHub Copilot shop, same content, different fine line. Your conventions travel across layer 2. That's worth sitting with for a second. The thing that's actually valuable here isn't the client, it's this file. Put the file where its reach should be. A Claude.md at your repo root committed to source control loads automatically at the start of every session. So the same rules govern your work and every teammates with nothing to attach or paste. A copy at ~Claude/Claude.md follows you across all your projects, and one in a subfolder scopes its rules to just that area with the most specific location winning. The payoff is consistency for free. The one cost is that it loads into context every turn, so keep it lean. Right, let's build something with it. From here on, the demo is all in Claude Code. That's just my AI client. But watch what is actually doing the work, because none of it is specific to Claude Code. A markdown instructions file, a set of AI plugins that reach your environment over a shared protocol. GitHub Copilot reads an instructions file too. The plugins are Microsoft's, and they run on whichever IDE you would prefer to use. The tool is a front door. The way you build is what matters. Let's build. Now that the instructions are loaded, I'm going to invoke the dvconnect skill from the Dataverse AI plugin, and I will give it the environment that I want to connect. If you want to be more verbose, you can add more instructions, but I can just tell it to connect to this particular environment.
And as you can see now, it's asking for my creds. Finally, it's setting up the MCP so that Cloud Code can connect with my environment. Now, the vConnect took care of the job here, installed all the plumbing for me, and it popped for me to sign in, as you saw. Now I'm signed in, and it has already inspected my environment because of the instructions I gave from the get-go. Remember that I said I don't want to create objects in just the default solution. I wanted to use a solution that's managed by me, and I also wanted that solution to be the preferred solution. It has already scanned my environment, and it's telling me that it couldn't find a custom solution. So it's providing me suggestions as to how I want it to move forward. So I'll say I wanted to create a zero to hero field services solution with publisher prefix FS. So we'll hit continue here. All right, I'm gonna take a peek at the maker portal. Not that we need to ever go there, but I just want to showcase that the solution we gave instructions about has been created. So I can click on the solution. We can take a peek at the publisher here, that it has followed the name, and then and also the details. If I click to edit the publisher, we'll see that it created the publisher with the specific FS prefix. Should I need to add more specifics, I could have done that in the instructions or in the prompt itself, but it's really cool that it just went out there and created the solution in the publisher for me. Notice that it also set the solution as my preferred solution. So even if I create objects in different areas of the Power Platform, it will pick this preferred solution for me. We are ready to rock. So let's start building our model first. All right, before I jump in there, I want to make sure that my plugins are loaded. So I will just review. Yeah, they are all here. I can make use of them. I'm going to switch the mode here from auto to plan because I wanted to see the plan before we execute. And then I will start typing my prompt. So this is the prompt I have here. So I'm going to walk through this with you. I wanted to build a Dataverse-based, lightweight field service solution inspired on Microsoft Dynamics 365 field service. And then I reference the documentation for field service. I'm also telling Claude to inspect the current data model for the Microsoft solution so that we can get some inspiration for our own. And then I broadly describe what our solution design is. It should include a data model, which includes realistic data samples. So I'm already telling it to fill it with data, fill the tables with data as they are built. I want to build a model-driven application that includes dashboard and a custom resource scheduling page. And I then reference what skills I wanted to use when building those assets. Similar for a customer portal to facilitate new service requests, bookings, current technician location, estimated time of arrival, post-service feedback, and payment collection. And again, I reference the skills that I want to use to build that when the time comes. And similarly, we are going to build, if time allows, a field service technician native application. The native application here refers to mobile native application. It's a new type of app provided within the Power Apps technology. And then we'll take a look at that as well. So let's fire this up and see what happens. As the code agents start to inspect my current environment and compare what it finds against the instructions I gave from the get-go, it will start to show messages and questions regards decisions that we have to make. And we are even still at the plan phase. We are not committing anything, but even to draft a plan, it's already posing questions as to how I wanted to build this particular solution. So this is an interesting one here. So the question is, when we build the Power Pages site, what type of site should we create? So it's giving me some options here. And again, because I am in plan mode, I'm not committing to anything, but giving options or directives to the code agents before it drafts a plan. Now here's an interesting question. How should we build the model-driven app? So it's giving me options that are more stable. The DV metadata is the one that creates the metadata tables and other objects behind the scenes. And Gen Pages, of course, creates generative pages for more rich user experiences. Now, there is a new skill that is on the preview that's called App Builder. And this one creates the model-driven app, and it has a bunch of directives there that I had included in my own skills previously, such as table icons, so on and so forth. So for me, I'll say use App Builder first, then dev metadata when App Builder is not giving the results that we expect, and then use Gen Pages for complex UI UX, such as scheduling board and dashboards. All right, the plan is done. So the first thing it did here, it checked if I had the Dynamics 365 field service first-party app, if I had it installed in my environment, and it saw that I didn't. Then it catalog the decisions that were made along the way as I was drafting the plan. There's a little blurb here for this video that I'm building. We'll skip that for a sec. Then it's talking about the data model, which tables that will be created, so on and so forth. I can make some changes to it. Note that it's suggesting some auto number columns as well, which is great. So key, primary key, and foreign key listed here, what status we are going to use, and the options that we'll create in certain tables, the global option sets. And then this is the part that's interesting, because I had in my conventions file that I wanted to see an entity relationship diagram using Mermaid. It created the code for Mermaid diagram. So we'll take a look at that when it's ready. So for the sake of time, I think the plan is great. It is gating here what's going to do first for phase A, data model, phase B, phase C, the model-driven app, and then site, so on and so forth, listing out the risks, and then some verification. Of course, this is a massive plan for us to just build in a few minutes. I would take the time to revise each step, and then I would signal to the code agent to create and build parts of each phase, and I would validate if it actually works. So for now, I would say that I accept the plan. If I didn't accept and want to change some of the things, you can click in some of the areas and then apply changes to the plan itself, or just revise the plan here. But for now, I'll say I accept. I'll just indicate which phases I wanted to build now, and then we'll go from there. So it spitted out the diagram, and I actually took the source code for this Mermaid diagram and put it on an editor just so that it facilitates our visualization. And as you can see here, let me drag this screen over. As you can see, it's pretty much showing all the tables, having the work order table as the core one, with all the fields and relationships being represented here. I'll zoom out and then just showcase some of the other tables that are available in the diagram. There's the booking table, so on and so forth. All right, so again, on my day-to-day work, when I'm creating new assets, new data elements, I like to visualize them and have a full picture of the model before I commit to create them. A lot of times the code agents will create things that already exist. So let's go back to Claude and see what we are actually doing. So I proceeded with creating some of the options here, the options associated with the model, and you see here that it started with phase A. So first global option sets, of course, because the tables will depend on those objects before columns can be created. And it tried to use the SDK, then it failed with the SDK. It's now using the web API, so on and so forth. So it's figuring a way out of trouble here. And then it's moving on to the 11 tables, custom tables that we are going to create. Phase A is now done, along with forms, views, and all the Dataverse components. Phase B, the sample data is also created, as you can see here. And then we are now stepping to phase C, which is building the model-driven app. So I got some questions that were not, items that were not clear as part of the plan. It's asking what personas are going to use this app. So I will just go with what was proposed. It's also asking if we should engage the generative pages creation for scheduling board and service board. So we'll say, yeah, let's go with the recommendation. Now it's previewing what the model-driven app would look like. So on this display, you see the sitemap, what tables, what sub areas and dashboards would appear, then tables and forms, so on and so forth. So I will extend, and I'll say, yeah, let's approve and build it. Now phases A and B are done, and we can actually navigate to Dataverse and see the results. So if I open Dataverse, you see that there is our scheduling board available. The UI itself is interactive. Of course, if I was doing this for a real customer, I'll go through all the details, make sure that all the buttons are functioning. I have an element here that it's supposed to be plotting a map. I didn't indicate what map technology I should use and keys for, API for those map services. So I would go through those details, make sure that everything is working accordingly. But this is a pretty good job done by the mix of LLMs, code agents, AI plugins, and skills. So we have a very decent result with some of the more complex UI using generative pages. But if I open a few tables, you see that I have the grid, with the layouts defined based on the business intent for this application. We have sample data created, loads of sample data created. And this could be a good demo product that I would bring before a customer. And again, if this is a final product that I was going to release, I would go through all of the details, bookings and whatnot to make sure that this is all working. So this is it for model-driven apps building. That is the data model, the app, some of the fine-tuning, icons, sample data, all of that stuff was built with the help of the AI plugins and the code agents. We're going to look at other assets moving forward, but this is a pretty good job that this particular setup did for us in such short time.
The possibilities we've unlocked are unreal. This truly feels like the best era of Power Platform, with AI finally unleashing the true power of the platform we know and love. Everything so far has been for the people delivering the service. Now we build for the customer a Power Pages code site, written in React, reading the same Dataverse tables the Dispatcher's app uses. One record, two front doors.
Now let's see what steps Claude is putting together for the construction of our customer portal website. You'll notice here that we have selected code site, the React SPA site, as our Power Pages strategy for the external customer experience, and also that it's listing all of the skills that it intends to use in building the site. It's really cool that it's actually putting the skills in sequence. So starting with create site, deploy site, activate site, create web roles, integrate web API, set up off, so on and so forth. So the 4 core capabilities that we are going to build for this site is the request and manage service. I want to track my technician so I can look at the map and see where the technician is and possibly get an ETA for the technician arrival in my home. The post-service feedback interface and pay my invoice. Now, pay my invoice is going to be a mock-up. I don't have Stripe set up, so I'll just showcase what the UI looks like, and then it would be fairly easy for us to wire this against Stripe or any other payment platform, okay? Now, I found this HTML template here, which is an admin-like website that I'm going to refer to Cloud Code as a parameter, if you will, or a template that I would like my site to look like. So having a sidebar with menus, an option for cards, charts, so on and so forth. So we'll reference that in our conversation. I will also tell it to use Fluent UI for controls as much as possible. And I'll give some other directives as to how I would like this website to be set up. Alrighty, I have added some additional details here for features, and I wanted to update the plan, the original plan, before we proceed. But then down here, I'm saying, hey, once the plan has been updated, go ahead and proceed with create website, okay? So we'll give it a go and then see how it performs. Now watch this. I mean, as it's building or adding the components required for this site, it's displaying this page here, showing that it's doing some work in the back end, installing the components that I mentioned that I needed. And also it created the roughing for the site. So as I requested, sidebar, a main content area, footer, so on and so forth. So we'll wait until the work is completed, at least this first phase, and then we'll go from there. Now the code agent came back with a build, a mock-up, if you will, of the site with information that looks legit, but it's all executed locally. So we'll take a look at what it came back with. I can see here the landing page has the components that I want with nice presentation. The site looks modern. It looks really nice. So what I did next was I asked it to execute the deploy site command or skill. So it's now pushing the site to the environment, and we'll see the results here shortly. So let's take a spin and see what the code agents along with plugins and skills helped us build in this particular example. So I will sign in. I use one of the skills, which is to add authentication providers. I added the Entra authentication, but you could use external Entra, you could use local authentication if you desire. But for me, I'm just gonna use my Entra authentication. The authentication is completed, and then it will start to list data that's associated with my contact record and the company that this contact record works for. If you remember the requirements, I said I wanted to have a dashboard that gives me an overview of what's going on, particularly associated with this company profile, number of service requests, the last visit, the feedback, and then the billing information here. What is the amount due associated with this company? Okay, so we'll take a peek here and take a look at some of these options. So the first menu is my service. So I see a list of services that have been completed or in progress or even not yet scheduled in the setup. I can click in a record, and you'll notice that it's using the AI summarization to give me an overview of the request. Here's the result. So I have this one work order, this is the location, and then information about check-in and so on and so forth. And here are the details. I have a photo attached to this particular work order, and I could add comments to the work order itself. So let's suppose that we're going to create a new one. I go back, request a new service. I can select the location, equipment associated with it, what is the particular issue, the date that I would like to be serviced, what time of the day, some comments. I can add photos to it. So I'll get a sample photo added on this one. The photo is there. I can go ahead, click to submit. The work order is created, and we can take a peek at behind the scenes if we want to, but it's there. So a few other things that has been wired on the site as per requirements or requests that we put it on the instructions to begin with. I can see the current location of the field service technician in comparison to the location of service. We can enhance this a little more to show specific service requests. So select the service request to see what is the ETA and the location of the technician. Service history, again, things that have been completed before. List of assets associated with my profile. For this one, I did not implement a way for users to create their own assets. Maybe it's something we would consider doing in the future. I can click on billing, see what work orders have pending payments. So you see a list here. Recall that on my instructions, I said, let's not worry about wiring this to a payment platform yet. So the payment itself is not fully wired because I don't have a payment platform associated with this code, but it is emulating that payment collection. But the data is all real. This is information that exists in Dataverse, and we're drawing the screen from that data. There is a feedback area that I can, provide information and comments, submit it, and it'll be associated with the work order in Dataverse. There is an area for notifications and the profile. Here in the profile, I said I wanted to be able to upload an image for my profile. So we'll select a file, wait for it to save. And there you go, the image is here, and in the header, it's being saved against my contact record in CRM. There is more information about service locations. I can add more service locations. And if I scroll down, I ask it to implement the dark theme profile. So if I switch, then it's now dark mode. I can go back to the dashboard and see it there. I can switch it back to light. And there you have it. You have a fully functional website. Of course, I mean, if this is in real life, we go back and forth, provide adjustments. Maybe the font is not matching. It's not carried across the multiple pages. But we could make those adjustments using the interaction between the code agent, AI plugins, AI skills, and we would be able to deliver that. Now, this is a code website, and a lot of the adjustments you would make here, they would happen in code if you know React, or again with the use of a code agent through your preferred AI client, Cloud Code, GitHub Copilot app, VS Code, so on and so forth. You can see here in this experience that it is telling that it's a single page application or code site, as Microsoft refers to. So I can't really make changes to the code using the maker experience. And a lot of the skills that I use, they only function for code sites. So create the site, deploy the site, those skills are specific for code sites. So one project that I have on the side is creating skills for traditional sites, sites that you build through the Maker portal, and then you can change using vscode.dev on the browser, or making changes locally using Visual Studio Code and the Power Platform extension for Power Pages. So I am creating skills, AI skills that is, for us to manipulate the traditional websites. We won't be able to show it on this video, but if you're participating on any of the events that I present, workshops, And also, if you are a subscriber of the Zero to Hero Inner Circle, you have access to those skills and you can try it on. You can even help me enhance some of these skills so that we can serve the Power Pages community better, okay? Let's move on to the next stage.
Let's continue with our AI-powered solution building adventure.
We will now proceed with the native mobile application. This is a new type of application for the Power Apps family, and the intent in using this particular solution is to offer technicians on the field a way to have access to a list of work that they have to complete, a way to visualize those work orders on a map, see the details, indicate which work orders they are working on at the moment, being able to complete the work as they finish off their service at a client site, as well as collect payment. So we'll work on that now. You'll notice that I was very direct here in which AI plugin I want to use while building this app and which skills, and also the details that are more business related to this particular operation. And it's informing me that I need to install the different version of Node and also NPM. So I give authorization for my code agent to go ahead and install all of the necessary programs to get this thing going. It's checking again what tables I want to use and the permission level. It's also asking me what native capabilities and connectors I want to allow this app to use. Finally, it's showing a screen graph to present to me the kind of functionality or UX, I should say, that users will have access to. It then established the working directory for this app and also asking me to sign in Power Apps. So it's asking me to create an Entra client ID for this particular application, and you can do that by accessing this particular path, and I'll show it to you what it looks like. Now the connection is established between the app and my Dataverse environment, the code agent will proceed to create the screens, the real code for each of the screens that I wanted in my app. Now the code is done, and I can actually run this command on my terminal. And this is when the magic happens. This will build the app, and it will display a QR code that we're going to use in combination with an iOS app that's available on your iOS devices to navigate the app and have a real feel of what it looks like. Well, now that the code is loaded and my code agent is showing me this QR code, I can open the Power Apps mobile preview on my phone, and then I can scan the QR code, and that's going to bring me to a session that's fully connected with the code agent, in this case with my Cloud Code session. So I'm going to hit play here, and it's going to bring the latest code from that particular session. And in here, you can see that my app looks really nice. So I have a list of active work orders and a list of completed work orders as well. I'm gonna click in one of the active ones that's showing as scheduled. I can see the details of that particular service. I can mark as I am on my way, and that should have sent a signal of my location to the database. I can start logging activities, and that includes camera. So I can activate my camera, click take a photo if I want to. If not, I can head back, and I can actually complete the service, put some notes, service complete, mark as completed, that's now complete. I can head back here, go to the list of completed items, open one of the items, and I can see the results. I can also collect payment. In this case, I'm only collecting information, so just data and how the payment was collected, so on and so forth. But my app looks really nice. I have a map view of my work orders, which I can zoom in and see the details, and it's all there. Very good work. This is native code using React. And as you saw the demo, I use the AI plugin for mobile apps, Power Apps, native mobile apps, I should say. And it just created this amazing app for me.
That was a lot to cover in just a few minutes. 4 core blocks, 1 field service solution, and 1 environment that went from empty to running. So before I let you go, here is the recap. 1. We connected to Dataverse and built the data model. /DV Connect handled authentication and registered the MCP server. /DV Solution created the solution and the publisher. Then /DV Metadata built 11 tables, their columns, the global choices, and 20 relationships, and /DV Data seeded them. What you're looking at is the diagram it drew before it built anything and waited for me to approve. 2. We loaded our conventions file and built the model-driven app. /app builder did the work, the sitemap, the views, the forms with their subgrids, status reason moved up to the header, and the table icons. Every rule you can see on this screen came out of Claude.md. I never typed "don't pluralize" or use status code. I wrote it once and the app inherited it. And where a list and a form weren't enough, /genpage generated real React pages inside the app, the scheduling board, a service dashboard, and a dispatcher view. It reads the same tables the forms do. Same client, same conventions, no separate project. 3. The customer-facing site. /create site scaffolded the React code site. /integrate web API wired it to Dataverse, and it didn't just write the fetch calls, it created the web roles, 13 table permissions, and the web API site settings that make those calls legal. /setup auth handled signing, and /add AI web API added the summary at the top of this page with the prompt registered as a site setting. Same site, 1 more page. The tracking map reads the technician's position off the booking row, the same record the dispatcher scheduled, and the technician updates from the field. 1 model, 3 surfaces. 4. The technician's app, native iOS and Android from /create, not mobile app. /at Dataverse generated the typed client. /at native brought in the camera, the photo picker, and location. And /setup offline profile means the whole day's work is on the phone, whether there's signal at the site or not. Payments recorded on site. Jobs plotted on a map. And when the technician taps "on my way," the position writes back to the booking, which is the pin the dispatcher sees, and the map the customer is watching. Same row, 3 apps, 4 surfaces, 4 plugins, 1 data model, and 1 conventions file underneath all of it. That's the part nobody can install for you. The plugins knew how to build. The conventions file knew how we build. So we covered a lot of ground in just a few minutes, but there's a lot we haven't had a chance to talk about. Application lifecycle management, governance, security at scale, everything that turns a solution that works into a solution you'd put in front of a customer. That's why I want to invite you to my full-day workshop at Power Platform Community Conference 2026. A whole day, hands-on, in your own environment, and the time to go properly deep on every one of these techniques. Monday, October 26th, 9 to 4 at the MGM Grand. The details are on screen. I'll leave this up for a few seconds. Come and build it properly with your team's rules-baked team. See you in Vegas.
Wow.
All right, Lionel.
Wow, that was a complete, detailed, thorough presentation. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. I was trying to pack as much as I could to give folks a view of what's going to take place in Vegas. And I know we had just a few minutes. I went over time there, but I felt like it was necessary.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I want to thank everybody who joined us as well today. We hope that we know definitely that this session gave you definitely insight into what to expect at Victor's full day workshop in Las Vegas. If you're interested, by the way, in any of our other workshop previews, check out the QR code that should be popped up there. There we go, a QR code. And you can check out what other speakers and workshops that are being presented at PPCC26. You can get a preview there. If you haven't registered yet, there's still time to join us in Las Vegas. When you register, simply use Victor's discount code, Dantas 150, and you'll get save $150 off of your registration. Now, we really want to invite you to join us in Las Vegas to connect with thousands and thousands of Microsoft technology professionals from around the world. You'll learn directly from Microsoft's engineering and product teams, as well as some of the most respected experts from the global Microsoft technology community. Thanks again for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Victor. And we hope to have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you at PPCC 26.
See you in Vegas. Bye-bye.